MOODYLOGiC, Jaden and his brother Earl of the Moody family. So they are in charge tonight. It's their class. I'm going to sit back and learn with the rest. Jaden, it's yours and Earl.
So please, I'll just start off by saying if you guys have any questions, interrupt me immediately. Because if you don't, we'll just keep going and then your question will be forever buried and then we'll probably talk about it later on.
Did we get the new monitor yet?
Yes, I have not installed it yet,
Okay.
but that will be going in shortly probably.
Okay.
So let's start out with the hardware differences between Apple and Windows. So traditionally with Windows computers, they would probably look something like that. Something like that. Probably not that old school, maybe. And then the computers we have nowadays, or especially the ones in here in the office, are the Mac Minis. Pretty big differences there. The main big difference is the appearance, of course, but a lot of the other things are internally. They're a lot quicker machines, they're a lot more efficient machines, and they last longer. Their build quality is generally stronger than almost any typical Windows machine. But on the flip side, that's why they're so expensive. So, you kind of have to weigh your options there. You spend a little bit of money, but it kind of lasts you a little bit longer. So, but the other difference is, of course, the software, which confused a few people, I would say. But that's okay. This is why we're here. General reliability is a lot better on Mac computers as well. You won't have a lot of the errors and crashing instances that you see on Windows computers. But typically speaking, a lot of the way that the programs are written on Apple's computers are it's called object-oriented programming. And basically it's just a cleaner way to code instead of having a bunch of the traditional way, which is C++ or all those programs written like that. It's basically a much more efficient code. So that's kind of how it breaks down on a scientific level. So let's start out with the desktop. This is your traditional desktop. Looks a lot like your Windows desktop, except for a few differences. The first one is the menu at the top. You don't have that on Windows, but this is a very useful menu. And it's always the same menu, no matter where you're at too, unless you're in full screen. But in the Apple logo here, you can kind of see some things about this particular Mac. And that's where it'll show you pretty much any sort of hardware standpoint. You really might not need to mess with this stuff, because it's really not necessary, but it's just kind of nice to know if you ever need to reference it. You also have the Finder, which Finder, what that is, it's almost like, think of it like, like when you go to My Computer on Windows, and you're going through the files, and you're looking for a certain file, maybe it'd be on your hard drive or something like that. Finder is basically a way of searching on your computer to find specific files. It's the way it organizes the files. Let's see, so we'll kind of give you an example here. So when I open up Finder, notice how it just shows all my files here. Basically, this is where your favorites and stuff would be, where you can access, for instance, documents or your desktop files. Maybe you have music. And you can choose, you can put your music file wherever. It's just a good way to keep organized, because you can put your files technically anywhere. But if you keep everything organized and clean, it's going to be a lot better experience for you. Say you're trying to find a file and you don't remember where it is, but you know the name of it. So let's see. Say I want to try to find this Blu-ray logo file. There's this little, you might not be able to see it very well, but there's this little magnification glass here. And when you click on that, it's called Spotlight Search.
Where are we at?
Right in the upper right-hand corner.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's kind of clicking on.
Think top of your screen on that.
Basically, top right-hand corner, magnifying glass, you're searching. And so you type in Blu-ray. There it is. So that's one way to find files if you don't know where they are. The next thing I'd like to talk about is this thing called Launchpad here on the bottom. And when you launch that, it's almost like a really nice way to organize apps. And the really confusing thing about this is not every app you install on here will show up here. This is just, if the developer decides to make it to where there's a Launchpad shortcut, then they'll put it here.
That's right.
But most of the time you'll find all your programs, if you installed any of them, in Finder. And the way you do that is you go, so once you have your Finder window open up here, you have to go to Go. Then there's one called Applications. And what that means is where all your applications are housed. So like, you know, Pages, Microsoft Word, Excel, even like, you know, multimedia programs, pretty much anything.
So that like the programs file in
Basically.
programs folder and.
Basically, where it shows all, on the Windows, where it shows all your programs listed, basically. And,
So could we get the Bible app, like the little Bible app?
Yeah.
That's where we'd find it?
yeah, well, you'd find it actually in the App Store, but then
Yeah,
once it's
we
installed,
download it?
mhm,
Okay,
yeah, that's where it pop up.
okay.
And it's very opposite exactly of Windows, the close, minimize, and this is the expand button. And another cool thing I actually found out about this today is if you click and hold, you can drag it onto either window.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that till today either.
That's pretty
It's
neat.
kind of cool.
So click and hold then,
Click and hold the green button,
okay?
and then you can also have like another app over here, so that way you can be like working on 2 different apps at one time.
Did not know that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Your life's so much easier.
So let's take a look at Safari real fast. So this is Safari, and it's very similar to any web browser. I probably don't have to touch up on this much because I'm sure most of you have used web browsers, but just in case you wanted to know, if you use Safari and you have like iPhone or a bunch of Apple stuff, you can actually sync your iCloud account, which is your Apple account basically, and whatever you're doing on your Safari app on your Mac, you could close it down and then pull it up on your phone and resume wherever you're at, because it keeps that data.
How do you set the home page?
The homepage on Safari, and this goes with a lot of apps actually. This is like a place to find a lot of like settings within apps. So you have your app open, and notice how when that opened up, this top menu changed. It's because I'm in a different program now. But when I click on Finder, boom, I'm back in Finder, and Finder's your general home program, if that makes some sense. So once you go in here, you go into Safari, and then Preferences, you'll find preferences in a lot of different apps. So when you go in there, you can see Safari is now your default web browser. You can set it as default. There's loads of information in here. Then your home page right there.
Got it, okay.
Yeah,
That's what I was looking for, I couldn't find it.
yeah. Mail is also another really, really good program that comes straight out of the box. You don't need Outlook, you don't need to spend extra money. You can have multiple email addresses synced into one. So you just come in here, you're like, okay, I know all my emails. You can send them, do whatever you gotta do. It's your general mail client. Then messages, I'm not gonna pull that up because it's
Can we go back to email real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Question that Pastor Jeff had.
Well, sometimes I exchange emails that I don't want people to read. And so if I set my email to that, so that when I come in and check my email, if somebody comes in and pulls that up, do they have to
What you would want to do in that
set it up
situation,
as a sign-in?
what you want to do in that situation is set your own user on the computer, probably. If you really want your personal data protected under a password, that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay.
And I'll go through that later on how to do that exactly. And then the fun one, here's probably the coolest app, is the App Store, which is where you can download all your cool apps. They got lots of stuff in here. Some are free, most are paid. But generally there's some things that'll make your life easier too.
So would you recommend us getting just like a Trinity Baptist email and set our app store to that? And
Yeah, I mean, however, basically the way it works is you can have one iCloud account that has to be assigned to a credit card
Currently
in
we
order
have
for it to be working. And then once you do that, you can set it up to have that iCloud account on whatever computer or whatever Mac computers you want to have those programs. Because what you can add 2 iCloud accounts together. It's called family sharing, and then you can share your apps with each other and whatnot. So that's also another possibility you can do. That usually updates automatically, so typically you won't have to mess with it. But just in case it does, it'll usually tell you.
We go ahead and update whenever it does come up,
Yeah,
no matter what?
no matter what. It's generally safe, 9 times out of 10 safer to update to the latest version than to have an old version that'll get hacked.
Yeah. Jaden, a little sidelight to that, just on the App Store down below, if there's an update and you happen to be on the computer, it will show a little, what is it, a red dot shows up?
And that'll go with actually a lot of different apps too.
Yeah.
You'll see a little, notice like my FaceTime app right down there?
Yeah, there you go.
It's got two, the little, it says two, red circle. That just means, hey, you got this many notifications with this app.
Yeah.
So.
So
it's
where's
just-
it at that he was talking about? That
It'll
there
be
would be
on-
So it'd be on the app itself, like
Oh, on the A?
this part right here.
Yeah.
Calendar.
And once I open that up and look at all my missed calls, then that'll go away.
The fourth icon over from
Okay.
that, the blue A.
Okay, that's
That
where
should
it
update.
updates, okay.
I don't know, how many apps are we gonna have on it?
7,988.
As many as you can. Fill the hard drives up.
And you can, you assign which ones you want to show here versus.
Exactly,
Right.
yes, you can, this is completely customizable.
Right.
So let's get back into iCloud for a second, since we're talking about the App Store, because the iCloud is kind of like your basic, account of sorts. And the cool thing about iCloud is it can really make your life seamless, especially if you have an iPhone or other things, because your photos can all sync together in one spot, your mail can all sync together in one spot, your contacts, your calendar invites, or your reminders, your Safari bookmarks, your notes, anything. You also have the ability for Find My Mac on here. So say someone steals your Mac and you go on to Find My Mac, you can literally pinpoint it on GPS and then shut it down remotely. So that's pretty, most people don't want to steal iPhones or Macs because there's a way to track it down usually, which is another great thing about it, I think.
But could they go in and take that off and we couldn't find them?
If they knew your password. So, but yeah, if they knew your password, they could do that, definitely.
We had to erase when my daughter's got her stolen. We erased it too, just couldn't find it, so we
Yeah.
couldn't pinpoint it, so we just erased it.
Yep, yeah, you can,
Had
you
that
can do
peace of
that.
mind to know at least they didn't get anything on it.
And even if it's not online at the moment you do that, as soon as it
Yeah, that's what
connects
we
to
said.
it.
We said as soon as it comes online, I want you to delete everything,
Yep.
is what we did, so.
So it's just a really cool safety feature, I think. This also has, like I said, you have your traditional photos application, which also has a significant amount of editing ability, but you're really not going to be too professional with your edits. It's just a good way to get maybe a color filter or something like that on there, crop them up or whatever. Then you have notes, which is pretty useful. This is your general, you can write down anything, of course, and all these, if you have an iPhone, sync with your iPhone, you can reference them later. It's a really nice way to take notes, I think. And then you have Maps application, of course. You can plot a route before you go, and you can save that route, set your phone, whatever you gotta do. It's really nice. So let's go into the calendar app real fast. So here you can see your basic day-to-days, and you can kind of separate them by different calendars. And a lot of what these do, if you see these little things here, it basically means that they're being shared with other people. So me and my mom keep in contact with what we're going on and we'll sync, saying, oh, she's gonna be here in this time. That way we know, what's going on.
You said my froyo a lot.
Yeah.
That's Earl's calendar.
There's that. Well, I got Earl's calendar too because we're business partners, so it's I gotta know what he's doing too.
And you can also unclick those if you don't want to see their calendar.
Yeah,
Like when I'm looking for something in mine,
say
I
at
got
work-
all this stuff in there and I don't want to see it.
say I don't want to see
Like,
Earl's
see
work
that?
schedule. There
There's
you
one.
go. And then, it's just a really, really nice way to stay organized.
Work with
Hey
it.
Jaden, real quick, while you're here, will you show them a second way to close the program, go over to the Apple, and show them how to quit also through the
Yes,
Apple?
okay, I'll show you a couple different ways.
Yeah.
Just in case, because sometimes if applications don't quit on you, this is some good things to
Yeah.
do.
Thank you.
If you click on App Store, you can do it that way. Quit App Store. Generally, I will say before that, if you click the red button, sometimes that closes the app, sometimes it doesn't. It's this one right here, sorry, it's kind of on the side here.
There you go.
Yeah, it's basically opposite,
So
yeah.
click that and that'll
If you
take me
click
out.
that, that doesn't necessarily close the program all the time. That's what I'm cautioning. Because some programs are set up like that, but some programs back in the day, Mac used to have this weird thing about that doesn't close the program down. And the way to for surely know that your program is closed down is if you click and hold, you can go quit. And notice how, it may be hard to see, but if you can see there's a little black,
You click
Kinda
and hold
circle.
what? You said click and hold.
click and hold the app,
Okay.
and you go up to quit.
Gotcha.
And then, but watch, see how there's that little black
Yeah.
circle thing right there? When you click, that's how you know it's off, when there's no more black circle.
So those other three then are still
Those
on?
other three are still open, even though they're not on screen. And reminders, this one, I don't really use it that much, personally, but if you really like to be reminded, it's pretty nice. Because you can set like alarms for when you arrive at places, or you know, certain times of the day or whatever. Just another way to remind yourself. And then of course a lot of these come with built-in applications which don't come with most Windows computers. Usually Windows computers come clean. And a lot of those are, you know, you have your basic calculator app, you have chess, but you have image capture, so you can plug in things like an external camera or something like that and upload them. Of course, you can have Microsoft Office Suite on here, but that's if you choose to. There's another alternative which we'll be getting to.
Does Microsoft Word come with it?
It does not
It
come
does
with
not, so it's now on for you.
Right. And then, go
So
ahead.
what's compatible to Microsoft Word that's on there?
Is that Apple Pages?
Would be Apple Pages would be the alternative.
And you're gonna tell that later,
No, we
right?
don't, I'm gonna have to switch back over to that computer, I don't have it on this one. But, well, actually, let's go ahead and jump to that one real fast. So here is Pages.
That was from,
Okay, okay.
Titanic was from Backward Charades,
But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
so you can go to like File New,
that the boys lost on badly.
and you have all these templates. It looks probably a lot like Word at this point to most people. So we just do like a blank document for this instance, and a lot of the tools are right here, you know, like you'd ever want to use. A lot of your font, you know, change how big your font size is, what type of font it is, a bunch of different options.
Can you hit on chart for just a second?
What's that?
Go to chart.
Hit the chart,
Go to
I
chart.
wanna see what,
So you could have 3D charts, 2D charts, and once you click on
it.
it,
You can put data in there, that's.
yeah, you can put them in, and
With that chart.
yeah, you were pretty
I
fast.
believe let's see,
Just put in information and made it for me.
yeah, they add a chart data down here.
Rotate
And put, you know, your dates. So you can see there's a lot of power you have with this app. So let's go ahead. Was there any more questions about Pages? Or anything maybe that anybody wanted to know?
So Pages is, we can use it just like Word, we can type on, if there's a document we gotta put up there.
When you go to send it though, don't send it as Pages, because those that.
Right.
Yes, that is a good thing to talk
That's
about.
the only thing I would say if you guys use that and send an email directly from these computers.
So if you go to File Export to, you can do a PDF, which is universally known across all computers. Or
That
you
works
do-
the best.
That usually technically is the lowest file size and the quickest to send. Word is another option if you want to give to a Microsoft Windows user. Plain text, of course, they don't have any word processing on their computer. ePublisher, or EPUB is like for ebooks. And then Pages 09 is for old and compatible Pages documents.
There's another way to do that, if you go to the share button up there.
Yeah. On
to
the
right,
main line, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Share that, yeah,
Send
send a
copy.
copy.
and if you're sending it in the mail,
And then just, you click mail, and then it. then
I
it's-
I will say one cool thing, and this is probably the coolest thing, is AirDrop.
Mm-hmm.
And you can send files, if another person has a Mac or iPhone or any kind of Apple device that's up to the latest version, you can send them files directly via Bluetooth. And it's pretty quick, pretty cool, it saves a lot of time.
but if they don't have that, show Megan how to send an email.
Well, you would just attach it. You would probably save it as a PDF first, and then send that PDF via email as an attachment.
Jane, go up to share, and then down to send a copy, and then mail. And when I get to there on like the Friday update, I hit PDF, and then whatever I usually do good,
Right,
and then
yeah.
I go over to next, and it's creating the PDF file.
I'm just gonna open this up. So instead of having to save it as, you
And-
can
and
do
then-
this way,
And then I get to send it.
and then you'd add whatever you gotta do. You go from there.
Yeah, and that's just one option that I use real quick for me.
Yeah, that's a very good option.
So the red button always just takes you out.
Out the window, not necessarily out there.
Any more questions about pages? Okay, let's go on. So numbers is like your Excel comparison. And it works a lot like Excel would. Obviously you have templates, of course, just like in Excel. And here, you know, you have all your options. You can do formulas just like you can in Excel. Pretty much all the abilities you can do are in the same, or in that program as well.
And where do you save?
This would be the same as Pages. So you could save it here.
If I just want to save it on the computer.
Go file save.
So you go File Save, and then there's an option to send it to wherever you want, but what I like to do is click this button here. And that kind of gives you a more like complex view of your computer. So you could you could send it to like your desktop, if that's what you want to do, or you could send it to your documents and name it whatever you gotta name it. And there's also, say if you want to put it in your documents, you're like, alright, well I wish I had a folder. You just do a new folder, type it whatever you gotta do, and then you can save it. And if you go into Finder, find Documents, Numbers, there it is. And of course, as well, you can do Spotlight search and find it that way. So, very, very intuitive. Now let's go to Keno. Does anybody have any more questions about numbers? Alright. Keno is like PowerPoint. I like the presets a lot better than PowerPoint because I think they look a little bit nicer. But just like the other two apps, they work very similar to each other.
There's a big football game going on right now, so.
And so you can do whatever you gotta do. It's almost exactly like
Kinda like the tennis
match
yesterday.
uh,
Let's see.
what's that program called? The other program, the Windows alternative.
Sure.
I
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, thank you.
PowerPoint. There's too many names of apps going around. Okay, any more questions about this one?
Oh, one thing I might note for everybody, on that one, it's a drag and drop kind of thing too, when it comes to moving the slides around, you know, you can do it, where you hit the plus up there, it adds another slide.
You do a
You know,
couple,
pick it up, and
boom.
I really like the versatility in it.
You'll find that a lot with a lot of Macintosh applications. A lot of the time, they're generally just more convenient to use in some instances.
Will you go over to the far right side underneath the main line and show them animate and
Sure.
animate?
So this is where you do all your effects for your transitions, possibly. Do a cool magic move. You press play, oh, see, just like that.
That's kind of like magic.
And then you do the transition automatically, set a delay if you want to, of course. So you have a lot of options there. This one, I don't think much. Yeah, that's just more power user information. Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. So, we also have a music thing too, I believe. I don't know if you guys use iTunes or, because I know I saw you use YouTube once.
Yeah, we've been using YouTube, but just because the videos,
Right.
and that's the main for the youth group. That's what we kind of need to know for that computer is how we can get all our videos into one spot.
Right. And the way, when I'm done here tonight, once the monitor's set up, you'll be able to, you know, like, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, but we'll have a monitor here, and then we'll have it to where you can just have a separate viewing experience from what that one is.
Is
That way
it?
you can
Okay.
just drag a window over
Nice.
and then do it that way instead of having to have a YouTube
So
screen.
so they don't see what we're doing.
Right, exactly right. It's a little bit more
Nice.
pleasant on the eyes. And so, was there any other burning questions you guys might have had, potentially? I didn't want to keep you too long.
Okay, when I have my files, nobody else can actually see them. How do I do that? Do I have to set up my own account someplace
Okay,
and
yeah,
then
let's
go in?
go ahead and let's check that out real fast. So if you go to, if you're in Finder and you go to System Preferences,
You're gonna slow down.
so back in Finder, just click this one, and that's basically like your home thing again.
So go to Finder and System Preferences?
Yep, you'll go to Finder, but you'll click the Apple logo actually. And that's System Preferences is what it kind of entails. It's all your system options and settings down to every single level.
Okay.
And so if you wanted to add another user, you go down here to users and groups. You can also search it. And it'll show you, kind of spotlight it, you know, it's kind of nice here.
I could use it.
So the way to do that, sometimes in apps, before you can change any setting, you have to unlock. And that's just basically a security feature. Once you do that, then you can start changing the settings. So you go to the plus, and then the new account administrator is you have every single potential role. I would only recommend only having one administrator, which I'll probably set up later. But that way, what can potentially happen if two people are administrators is you could, you know, mess with the other person's account or delete it. So it's generally good to only have one admin account where only one person can access.
And that's
That
the way
way-
it was before too.
Right. So if you're on a standard account, you can't do like some of the things that would be able to change features on your computer. You'll just be able to basically use it. Yeah, for basic things. And you can also do, if you have a kid or something like that, you can have parental controls or sharing one account. And you can also set a hint if you cannot remember your password, which is sometimes helpful. For
That
a
never
user,
happens with me.
just don't set your hints as your password. And then you can, there's a couple different ways you can switch users. You can go up here to the name and then just switch it over the user. You can also go to the Apple logo and then go to log out, which generally it's nicer to log out because what you do if you have a user account logged in, it's using resources on your computer, it's using processing power, it's using RAM to access things still. So if you have another account open, you're probably not going to have the same quality of speed as if you were to have only one account open.
I was on the
What's
last.
some troubleshooting tips? I mean, what's some common things that we'll find that we got to, like, I remember when we first got it, we were having trouble getting that and that talking to each other. Is it the typical, we shut it down for 15 seconds and do that first?
So I'll kind of tell you what I did, I should say.
Okay.
What used to be a VGA cord running up in the, well there still is, a cord ran. It's a VGA cord ran from there, comes down into here.
Okay.
But what we did instead is we did a wireless transmitter. So it's an HDMI wireless transmitter instead of a VGA, which I think that was originally the problem. Because it was just an old incompatible signal quality, analog basically. So what we did is we set up this HDMI transmitter, and there's two on this one. The other one's up on top of the projector, but you really probably won't have to mess with that.
Okay.
So what you'll do is there's one that goes to the TV or the monitor, and then there's one that goes into the computer.
Okay.
So as long as those are good, as long as they match up, you're fine. If you have problems, because I was just having problems syncing just now, what you might need to do is unplug it, plug it back in, let it do its thing.
10 to 15 seconds or immediately?
Immediately, it doesn't,
Okay.
yeah, doesn't make a difference. But yeah. So it's gonna always ask you for an iCloud account when you try to sign into anything. If you have your own, you can use it. Okay, so let's just say, for instance, you have an application you want to use, and you happen to use it a lot, but you wish it was down here in the dock. So the way you do that is you select your program. It's usually, you can find it in applications, of course. Just drag and drop. And to get rid of it, click and hold. Well, okay. Just grab it, and then it'll pop away. You can also click and hold, go into options, remove from dock. You can also have them open as soon as you log in, or show in Finder. So that way you can see exactly where that program is located. And you also have some customization abilities. If you go back into system preferences, remember that was the one in the Apple logo, the main options for your computer. Type in dock, find your dock. You can change the size of it. This one's kind of fun. You turn on magnification, go down here, you can really see your applications.
That works good for me.
Yeah. You can also change the position on which it's located. So maybe you're like a more of a left-hand kind of guy, or a right-hand kind of person. You can also change the minimize window effect. See, right now it's set to Genie, which if you hold Shift, this is actually kind of an Easter egg that Apple's left in since OS 9 in the 90s. If you hold Shift and you go to minimize, it does a really, really slow transition. Do the same, opening it back up too. And you can go to scale effect too, which basically just not the Genie, it's just your boring old standard Windows style. You can also, let's see, a couple different options in here. Really, a lot of this stuff, you know, I can tell you, but you might forget it. So a lot of what you're probably going to have to do is just kind of look in there, you know, look at all the settings, you know, kind of get your bearings a little bit of what you got, and you might find a setting which might work better for you. You can also change desktop screensaver stuff here.
So on Kathy and I having two different login type things, can she change the preferences that won't affect mine too?
If she
And
is,
vice versa?
if she is changing preferences in her account,
It won't
it'll
affect the others.
only change them in her account. Yeah. And there's also general, which is a very kind of cool thing. Because there's this thing called use dark menu bar in dock, which I personally like it because I think it's easier on the eyes. You do like that, you can automatically hide and show the menu bar. So that way all you gotta do is go up there and then it'll show up. I don't really know any other purpose for that though. You can change your highlight color, make it whatever you gotta do. It's your personal effect. Like I said, lots of options. We could be here for hours probably talking about them. But the other thing is printers. This is probably the other most important thing I haven't really touched on. And Macintosh makes it really, really easy to connect to printers, because think of it like back in the old days when you had to find your printer software before, you had to like find it forever on the internet or whatever. Macintosh does it automatically. As soon as you connect to a printer, it's like it just installs it and it's fine, it's working. And I'll have, of course, that set up already, but it's very easy to do. All you got to do is, of course, unlock it. Well, I don't remember the password for that, but once you do that, you just add it, and it tells you exactly what you do. Like I said, I'll have it set up so you won't necessarily have to do it, though.
And a majority of the time, once this is all initially set up in final form, which is very close, a lot of the stuff we won't be playing with.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is just for interest's sake, you know? And it, like I said, it potentially might help you better as a user on the computer.
Will you go over, whoever would say downloading something off, where the download, how it's done, and where it will dump
That's a
to?
good question. So let's go ahead and try downloading something real quick. And I'll show you how that looks and works. It's very similar to Windows. Say you have this image. Let's see, let's go back to gallery. Let's view this gallery. I'm just going to find an image to download, and this will work with files or whatever as well. But if you right click it and you download link file, notice how when you dropped it, it went to this little folder down here by your trash can? It's called the downloads folder. When you open it up, you can see it's actually downloaded as an HTML file, but that's where your files are going to show up if you download them, is in this little folder here. Yeah, you can put that, like you're talking the downloads folder?
Pardon?
Or are you talking about just the downloads folder?
No, I mean, you
Oh,
know,
just any download?
any download, if it, I know, I can ask, in the browsers I work with, I can ask
Right.
that to ask me where I want to save it.
Right.
As
Let
opposed to
me
just putting it in the download
I'll
folder.
show you. I believe you
Save
can
one
do
of
that.
my other folders, I can save it wherever I want and then not have to.
So this is how you do that part. Instead of saving the picture as, or just saving the picture, you just save image as.
Instead of save to downloads.
And then you have this familiar thing where you have the drop down and you can save it to wherever you gotta save it.
Does that make sense, Bernie?
Yeah.
So that's one of the ways to do it.
How about getting photos on here, on these? How are we gonna do that? Computer?
So what photos specifically?
If we take pictures of the youth group,
Okay.
whichever house,
Is it-
Megan, you know how to do
Not
that?
off the computer, but
Is
like
it on a camera?
yeah, that kind
So
Yeah.
would you have ability to?
thumb drive probably and just
Well,
copy it in over.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can connect a camera to your computer directly,
with
with
USB.
USB or whatever.
Okay.
There is one other thing, if you're, like, can't find the person you're looking for on here, and I think the reason why this might not be updated. to
It's
play
not.
soccer, if you can't, you don't have to necessarily update, you can just go to, don't see the person you're looking for, you can search for older Mac, and as long as you both are in the searching for older Mac part, you'll be able to find that person.
You got the senior citizen section and the young.
So is that the fastest, easy way to communicate these two computers too? Like if I was wanting to, like we were doing a presentation for the youth, but it's on my computer in there?
Yeah, probably if it can reach, I'm not too sure if it will reach, but
Oh, okay.
I think it would. Yeah, we can try that later. But if you guys have any questions, even past this point tonight, you can look at our website, you can contact us there, MOODYLOGiC.com. We pretty much do this all the time, technical stuff. It's always fun too to test.
By how?
MOODYLOGiC.com.
And it shows our,
Shows our contact information. If you scroll down the front page, you can email us. Also, if you want my personal number, you can get it. But I usually don't like to put my personal number on my website. So